Do you ever look in the mirror and think, I'm not sure who I am anymore? Not because you've lost touch with the person you used to be, but because you've spent so long caring for the needs of other people that you don't get to spend enough time just being you anymore. I think a lot of people out there fall into this, I don't call it a trap, into this situation because it's so easy to fall into, especially if you're somebody who has a lot of responsibility or a lot of people depending on you. You spend so much of your time caring and catering to the needs of others that your needs keep coming last. And it starts with your needs coming last, and eventually it comes with time just to yourself being the last thing on the menu, the last thing to do. And that can be really hard and really isolating, because then you get to a point when you go for a job interview or something like that, and someone says, so what sort of person are you? And you go, I don't really know, honestly. And what I hear a lot of videos about this say is, try and get back to who you were. I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea of that, but I do think there's something wrong with what's being said, because when someone says get back to who you were, it implies that person's not there anymore. And I think that person is there for you and for everybody else out there that feels like this, because it's not a case of the person you used to be is gone. It's just that, like I say, you don't get to spend enough time with that person anymore. Doing the things you enjoy, doing things for you, just spending time being a human being instead of somebody people depend on. And I think one of the hardest parts of that is that when you feel like you've lost touch with who you were or who you are, it can be isolating, because the people around you that are dependent on or relying on you to be a certain person to and for them, they don't necessarily notice that in the same way that you do. If you are having a bit of an off day because you're feeling a bit low because you're feeling a bit tired or a bit burnt out, where you're just not getting to be that person anymore, the people around you might think you're a bit quiet on the day, but they don't know truly how you're feeling, because you're making sure the time you're spending with them is about them. The one thing I would say, and I think this doesn't necessarily get spoken about enough, is that the people who struggle with this aren't bad people. And they're not lazy or just weird, or there's nothing wrong with you, you're not broken. It's just that, you are a good person. That's the simple fact of it, is good people struggle with things like this. Not lazy people or indifferent people or unkind people. They don't struggle with these problems. Not in my experience anyway. In my experience, from what I've seen, what I've lived through myself and the people I've spoken to, good people struggle with this. You spend so long being something to somebody that when it's time to be you to you, you don't even know where to start. Now, what I've seen a lot of people say in videos talking about this is, try and come back to the person you were. I don't like the wording of that. Like I say, it implies that person's not there anymore. But what I would say, if it was me, is to try and take small gaps of time to just either be on your own or do small things that you do still enjoy, right? And these could be something as simple as just listening to a bit of music. It could be something as simple as reading a bit of a book or going for a short walk or something. And if you're sat there thinking, well, that's well and good, but I spend all my day being something to somebody, then there's something I've been talking about in recent videos that I think could be helpful. It's called 1% Reset. And it's something that I kind of fell into, really, as opposed to created, because a lot of the advice, because I was in a similar place, right? I care for my partner. I'm a parent of 3 kids, trying to do YouTube stuff, trying to build a brand, all from home. That's the other part, is it's all happening in the same building. And when it's all happening in the same building, there's no place where you're one thing here and something else over there or whatever. You're all of these people in all in one place. And that makes it incredibly hard because there's no like, you can go to work and be one person, you can be at home and be whatever. It's all happening in one place. And when I struggled with this, I looked around for different ways of like, reclaiming my time or taking my life back. All of these other video titles you see where it's like, take back your time with such and such idea. And nearly all of them felt unrealistic. Like that I couldn't have that because I didn't qualify, because either I didn't have the time or the money, or sometimes even just the effort required to do it. Because so much of it is things like, you talk about like journaling or breathing exercises or yoga, meditation, stuff like this. And you think to yourself, I don't want to do that. Like, not because it doesn't appeal to me, but just that, one, I don't really have the time to get into journaling. And frankly, if you've got kids, one of the biggest things for journaling about me that I find it funny to an extent is that say you got like half an hour for journaling, just hypothetically. I know a lot of us don't even have that, but say you had half an hour for journaling. If you've got kids at home, how much of that half an hour are you spending trying to find the pen that you used the last time you needed one, that your child has since taken to school or lost or whatever, right? And before you know it, your time's up and you haven't done it. And then it feels like you haven't done enough in that time because you haven't done the thing you were supposed to do. And do you know what I mean? It snowballs. Like, all of these different tasks that require these big amounts of time are really hard things to do. A, because they require a big amount of time, and two, because you have to be the right person in that moment to take advantage of that activity or task or skill or whatever. And if it's a skill, you've then got to learn that as well. You're putting more on yourself. You're making yourself more stressed to eventually get to a place, if you're able to access that version of yourself, to take the rest. What I found is an easier way that I didn't, like I say, think up and plan out. It became almost like a way of surviving through that season of life. And like I say, it was called the 1% reset. And the 1% reset differs from a lot of these things because it doesn't ask you to learn a new skill, take any time that is already promised to other people. It simply is like finding the cement between the bricks. Right, if you look at a brick wall, if you imagine a brick wall, right, and all the bricks are all the responsibilities you have in life, okay? And the cement is simply you holding all of those things together, right? What the 1% reset does is it acts to help that cement to stay solid, stay firm, to be able to hold all of that together. But I mean, you and I both know that we can't just do that all the time without some kind of a break. And if we don't get some kind of a break, then we get worse. And if we get worse, the quality of care or help or reliability, whatever word you want to use, that suffers. That quality suffers because we're not the person we need to be in that moment. Not consistently, not forever, not without a break. And I've seen good people, really good people that I look up to and admire, and they've burnt out and they've either really lost their temper or I ended up in hospital with it. I was in hospital for a week because they thought I'd had a heart attack. And it wasn't. It was just the build-up of stress. And that should have been an eye-opener. And it wasn't. Do you know what the worst thing about that was for me, being in hospital that whole time? Was the fact I couldn't be where I needed to be, being something to somebody in that time. I didn't know how to exist without being that person to other people. When you're caught in that mindset for long enough, it's hard to know what to be or, who to be or how to exist without being that person for other people. But the 1% reset differs because, like I say, it's small bits of time. 5 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 10 minutes here. That's all it is, right? Because people can find 5 minutes. I don't believe anybody when they say they don't have 5 minutes, because in every day of all of our lives, there are 1,440 minutes in every single day. And when we're saying we can't find 5 of them, what we're actually saying is that 1,435 minutes of that time is not enough for everybody else. And when you say it like that, it changes the conversation you're having. It changes the narrative. Because when you're saying that 1,435 minutes of 1,440 minutes isn't enough time for everybody else, it brings to light how small 5 minutes is. 5 minutes, right? If you're making a hot drink, or you're coming back from the school run, driving to work, there's lots of different ways you can take these resets, and they can stay small enough that your body doesn't reject it. To be fair, you don't even have to start by taking time that's just for you. You can take what I call a shared reset. And a shared reset is like, if you're at home, right, and it's the weekend, and you've been at work all week, or you've been with the kids all week at home, whatever it is, and you're stressed to the nines, and you've got some dishes to do, you could put some music on while you're doing the dishes, right? It's just the music that you like. We all get a chance to listen to music, right? There's going to be artists out there you enjoy. There's going to be podcasts out there you want to watch or listen to. There's going to be audiobooks you like. Like Harry Potter's obviously a really popular example of that. Lord of the Rings is another one. But for me personally, like, if I have one of these shared resets, I'll go out in the kitchen and put on a bit of Green Day, bit of Linkin Park, something like that. And I'll just be there giving a bit of a headbang like that, getting the dishes done. And all you're doing is bringing something you enjoy into the room with you. Almost like a comfort blanket, right? And it's just a way of introducing part of the person you still are into the responsibilities you carry with you. It doesn't change what you do. It just changes how you're feeling and how you're doing, right, as a person, how you're getting on while those things are happening. The small resets where it's just for you, like I say, on the way to and from school runs, on the way to and from work, making a hot drink, little things like that. It doesn't have to be a lot of time. That time already exists in your day. That's one of the other big things. You're not having to force them in. The time exists. It's just using it differently for you. And it doesn't have to be some big grand gesture. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be learning a new skill. It's literally coming back to taking time for yourself without like upsetting the apple cart, so to speak, without removing that time from other people. And I do think it's achievable. And I think if you're this kind of person that struggles with this, I think you deserve it, right? Put it this way. You spend so much of your life putting other people first that you've forgotten the kind of person that you've forgotten who you are to one extent or another, or you don't know how to be that person anymore without the responsibility. And because you're so busy putting other people first, let me be the person to put you first. Because I think somebody should put you first. And if there's nobody about to do that right now because you're in a difficult season of life where you are the person people depend on, let me put you first. In fact, I'll go on better than that. In the top of the description of this video, there's a free PDF, okay, about the 1% resets. There's a list of different opportunities for reset you can take. You don't have to be anything. You can just do, by and large, what you want, obviously, within reason, but do what you want in that time. Listen to music, watch a bit of telly, read a book, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Like, we've all got that idea of like, oh, if I had the afternoon to myself, I would do whatever, right? Just do that. Or a version of that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot. Like, you could be on the way to work or the way home from school and call a friend of yours. Call your parent, call whoever it is. And just spend 5 minutes talking to them. Even if you don't gain anything from it in that first reset, and you probably won't. The whole point of these resets isn't that you take one and you're suddenly transformed. It's that they're small and repeatable enough that you can keep taking them over time. It helps to, like, you go back to the cement between the bricks. It just makes that cement big enough to hold the bricks together. It gives you enough breathing space over time that you don't feel like you're losing who you are. I have a term for this, and it's micro action, macro effect. Enough small resets taken over time create the change that we're looking for. There's no pressure to change overnight. There's no pressure to change by tomorrow afternoon. There's no pressure to do any of it. You can completely ignore everything I'm saying and carry on as you are, or try something else. It's entirely up to you. I'm just saying, if you want a small, frictionless way of trying to take that time for yourself, it's there. And it's free. If you click the link below, it takes you through to a sign-up sheet, right? It gets emailed out to you, the PDF, and there you have it, right? And if you read through the PDF, or you're still not sure where to start, you've then got a contact email for me. It's not one of these no reply emails. You can get in touch with me directly. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, right? I'm just a guy who's trying to figure it out as well. But you can get in touch with me and say, look, I've read through the PDF, I have a question about this, or a question about the video, whatever, and we can have a chat about it. It costs you nothing, the PDF. Talking to me costs you nothing either, right? It's just somebody trying to do the right thing, trying to put you first, so you can carry on being the person other people need you to be. Because I bet one thing, but I bet you are proud of being that person. I know it can be hard. But if you're proud of being that person, you want to be that person, then let me be that person for you, please. Whatever you go away thinking, I just hope this video has helped. And if it's made you feel any better in any way, then this video has done its job. And like I say, if you want the PDF, it is linked at the top of the description. Until the next one, my name has been Daniel Mottram, and I cannot wait to catch up with you in the next video.